Tonight on ABC, Paul McDermott is joined by Natasha Stockton, Adam Spencer and English comedy stars Parson Taylor on Good News Week. Then at 8:30, there's a seemingly
controversial idea would have pegged the rupiah to a fixed exchange rate, but the IMF has been told this isn't feasible and other alternatives will have to be found. A bank executive has attacked the big four banks, claiming they are destroying the industry's reputation. The Bank of Queensland chief executive says the major operators must drop their arrogance and reinvest more of their profits into services.
The Bank of Queensland says the four big banks are motivated by self-interest, arrogance towards their customers, and had brought public wrath on the whole industry.
Taking any steps to redress this customer and community disenchantment.
Mr Dawson says the Commonwealth, Westpac, ANZ and national banks are closing country branches, reducing staff and increasing fees in their drive for profits.
Public enemy number one was the bank robber. I say now it's the robber bank.
The Commonwealth Bank rejected suggestions it was arrogant, arguing it had led moves to lower home interest rates. And the National Bank said Australia still had one of the highest bank outlets to population ratios in the world.
And when you consider the way that customers use telephones and plastic cards and checkbooks, then of course they don't need to go to a bank branch to do their banking business.
The Bank of Queensland says the major banks should inject some of their multi-million-dollar annual profits back into the community. Harry Williams, ABC News, Brisbane.
To finance news now, and the All Ordinaries ended the day 2 points up in mixed trade. Overseas, in London, the FTSE has surged ahead 98 points in early trade. The Nikkei gained 151 points, the Hang Seng 119 points, and the Australian dollar is steady against the greenback. Cricket, and Australia's batsmen face an almost impossible task to save the second test against India in Calcutta. The Indians continued their run spree today, reaching a record 5 for 633, a lead of 400, and Australia in its second innings is off to a shaky start.
Mohammad Azharuddin joined the run feast shortly after he was given a life by Shane Warne.
Dropped. What an effort.
As the champion leg spinner was heading for one of his worst test canings, none for 147. Warne's frustration obvious.
A bouncer.
India cruising past the 500 mark as Ganguly made it half-century number 5 for the innings.
Excellent shot.
Azharuddin bringing up the first century of this test in scintillating fashion. His 5th century and 7 knocks on this ground.
100.
Gavin Robertson finally snared Ganguly for 65. But Azharuddin was unstoppable on his way to an unbeaten 163. India declaring at 5 for 633, their highest ever score against Australia in Test cricket, giving them a 400-run lead. With survival the key word, Australia's batsmen were under enormous pressure. For Michael Slater, he couldn't afford another failure, but on 5...
Oh, he's led on again.
Slater's head now well and truly on the selectors' chopping block. Greg Blewett was another fighting to retain his spot and a nervous start. But he and Taylor safely steering the Aussies through to stumps, but with 2 full days remaining, defeat seems inevitable. Bernard Cohen, ABC News.
In AFL, North Melbourne and St Kilda are fighting for bragging rights and some rare silverware tomorrow night in the pre-season Cup Grand Final. The Saints have been boosted by the return of co-captain Nathan Burke, while North will be out to make amends for last season's preliminary final loss.
Last time the two sides met, St Kilda ended North Melbourne's season.
The Saints are through.
Saints captain Nathan Burke says the team is treating the night final as their last practice match before the real season kicks off in a week.
After being in that grand final last year, it really puts this grand final in perspective. And you may even change a win for getting off to a 4-point start next week.
Burke and Harvey got through training last night, but forward Jason Heatley will miss the game. The Kangaroos are looking at taking a smaller and quicker team into the final.
Might have went too tall last week in condensed. We probably had at stages there. We had Groom, Longmire, Hewitt and Houlihan on the bench, talls for a long period of the game.
Darryl Wakeland will once again have the difficult task of controlling Wayne Carey.
He's going to be hitting the ball pretty hard and he's going to be leading hard up the ground. So, I've just got to be there with him and keep my eye on the footy and, hopefully he's not getting it too many times.
North Melbourne will only have 6 days to prepare for its round 1 clash against the West Coast Eagles. Angela Pipos, ABC News, Melbourne.
Now the national weather for the start of the weekend. Late storms in Darwin and Alice Springs and rain clearing from Perth. Also becoming fine in Brisbane and Hobart and fine in the other capital cities. And that's all from the National Newsroom. Enjoy your weekend and I'll see you on Monday. I'm Selena Edmonds. Good night.
In their privileged world, romance still seemed possible under the cloud of a looming war.
It's sometimes forgotten that the Nazi Party is the National Socialist Party. They're not only national, they're also socialist.
But the political turmoil of Europe is creeping ever closer.
Look forward to seeing some extremely sinful tableau after...
And only Whitmerpool seems to have caught on. A dance to the music of time, 8:30 Sunday.
A new season and a new venue to get the Commonwealth Bank Trophy underway for 1998 with a replay of the 97 Grand Final. The Adelaide Thunderbirds playing the Melbourne Phoenix in round 1. Hello, I'm Steve Rebillard for ABC Sport, and it's great to be back for a netball year that promises to be a beauty, both domestically and internationally. We're kicking off with one of the games that could be the best of the season, and we're playing it at the Sport's new purpose-built venue, Etzer Park.
It's built specifically for netball. We're not going to have to worry about lines on the courts and backboards and things like that. So, no, it's really great to walk in here and know that the posts are already up and that you don't have to put them up yourself and all that sort of thing. So, no, it's set out especially for us and makes us feel quite important.
The seating immediately behind me, halfway down the stadium, actually breaks up into its constituent elements and swings back across to the sides of the building. And then the large retractable tiered seating unit at the end of the stadium, which is sort of back in the distance, which incidentally is one of the largest of its kind anywhere in the world, is actually extended and driven down the court to form the third side of Court 1, the feature court that we're on at the moment. Well, netball people will tell you that it's taken 40 years to get this off the ground. Certainly that's not an exaggeration when you look at how long they've been lobbying the state government for some kind of support, financial or other, to get their own home base, their own venue. But in real terms, probably 3 or 4 years, the initial sort of period for all of the negotiations to take place and to be finalised, and then we're looking at just over a year for from the start of construction to its completion towards the end of January.
And the bottom line, what's it cost?
About $8.5 million.
I think it's great, particularly to walk in and know that this is South Australia's home for netball, and we haven't had that ever before, so I feel really proud that we've got such a fantastic venue. It's great to play on, the surface is magnificent, it's got a lot of spring, and so just to be able to come here and play is something that I'm really looking forward to this season.
About $8.5 million.
Makes us feel quite important.
And it's an important step forward for the sport, not just in Adelaide, but nationally as well. Well, things wouldn't be right if we didn't have the old team back in harness. Annie Sargent, welcome. And what do you think of this new showpiece? It's something, isn't it?
Old team, I hate that introduction. With regard to the venue, it's just stunning. It makes even these old legs want to run around on it. It's really beautiful, and it's great that it's a designated netball centre. That's really important for us.
And the Thunderbirds and Phoenix to kick it off.
Yeah, what more could you ask for? A rematch of last year's grand final, and they'd have to be the two favoured teams for the competition. Interesting that both are with changes to the lineup. We've seen Jocelyn Bryant move from the Phoenix to the Kestrels, and we've also seen Orioles Cobb move from the Thunderbirds across the Ravens. Jackie Delaney not yet back on court after the birth of Yasmin. So I guess that makes it a little foreign territory for both. It's hard to go past the Phoenix. They certainly have the strength of their lineup intact. The other thing I'm really anxious to see is how the players adapt to the new IFNA rules, whether they'll take them on and explore them, or whether they'll play within the comfort zone of the existing rules that they knew.
Let's look at the teams, and a bit of a conundrum up front for the Thunderbirds while Jackie Delaney gets back to full fitness after having the baby. So it's Purser and Romeo, opposed by Liz Taverner and Janine Illich, formerly Lynch. Alex Hodge has the wing attack spot now with Cobb over at Ravens, and she'll know she's in a game against Simone McInnes. Opposing centres are Rebecca Sanders and Sue Howie. Peter Squire lines up at wing defence against Michelle Bennison, while Harvey and Sutter resume hostilities against Tanya Driscoll and Eloise Southby.
Pre-season's been really tough for the Thunderbirds this year. It's one of the hardest I've ever come across, and as a result the girls are feeling fitter than ever, which is obviously good preparation for the season. We haven't had all players together on board at one time. Some of our players have been having babies, others have been sunbaking in the Caribbean, but we're really excited about tonight. We've been training for a long time now, and it's good finally get out there, and I guess it's a good measuring stick being up against the Phoenix for the first game.
Well, probably our pre-season's been a bit disruptive with players being away with Australian commitments in the Caribbean, but arriving here today, everyone's really keen to get going. Had a good training session this morning. Everyone's really fired up to get out on court and start the season, and started off with a win. I think, you know, if we played the netball that we're capable of, that we finished with at the end of last year, we'll be in there.
Well, the Melbourne Phoenix squad looks pretty happy on it and ready to go. But it's the home team perhaps under a little bit of pressure, keen to impress in this new venue, Anne.
Yeah, it's difficult for them, I think, to blood their forward lines so early in the competition, but a nice way to play the game out in front of your home crowd, which is, we thought was a little light on, but it's building closer to kick-off time for the match. Rebecca Sanders back from the Caribbean, where she made her debut in the Australian lineup.
What an honour for her, and it's come late in her career, but she grabbed the opportunity with both hands. And
I think you and I gave her a few promotions during the year, didn't we, in commentary, saying she really was putting in a great job.
Well, she, you know, left no one in any doubt that she had the ability. We understand the ball has been lost. No. You've got one in the car, haven't you, Anne? Oh, here it is. Here comes Adam Sachs, the venue manager, has managed to rustle one up. And we should be underway shortly. So I hope, for the sake of the Australian players who've been away and really have had virtually no break, that they're not feeling like they've had no break. I mean, it's a full calendar these days in international netball.
I think they'll be relishing being back under an Australian whistle.
And it'll be Sharon Burge and Maureen Boyle to oversee the season opener. And Rebecca Sanders gets Thunderbirds moving forward. So they're in the grey, and in the dominantly purple, it's Melbourne Phoenix. And Purser puts the first one away well. Well, we mentioned new rules, Anne. We may or may not see much of them in evidence, and it'll be up to Sharon and Maureen, and two of our most experienced umpires, to sort it out.
Yes, it would take us a couple of programs to get through the explanations of the rules. They're quite mind-boggling, and they're also contradictory throughout the rule book, and I think the best thing would be to describe them as they emerge in the game. But as I mentioned, you would expect the players under the duress of this game, it's a strong contest, to resort back to the rules they're comfortable playing and not to explore these new ones.
They do take some thinking about, and these players react and move and play the game so quickly that until, you know, the rules have been enforced for some time. And of course, it's only at this level club players around Australia aren't required to play under these new rules.
Well, I think our viewers will notice the taking of the throw-in. It will be called by the umpires, but the throw-in will just be taken by the players without a play signal, so that might be different. Centre pass can now be caught in the goal third under certain conditions, and if we see it, we'll explain it to you. And the other is the taking of the penalty, which frees up that you don't need to be right beside the offending player. And that, again, can be explored to a full extent. So
yeah, you could move across the other side of the court to take the pass if you want to, along a line, sideline to sideline, through the infringement.
Well, I think I've made the point to a couple of the girls that if you think about that within the context of a penalty on the baseline in the circle, it means a shooter could have the right to advance the penalty under the post. And I don't know if they're brave enough or, as you said, have time to think about it under the pressure of this match to explore that. We'll see. Could be a viewers' competition. First shooter to walk it in. This is not an example of it, because the rule explains it's from sideline to sideline. It doesn't allow you to promote the ball in on that angle.
So there was no advantage there for Marissa to be exploited, but if Purser were to be infringed, say, in the corner of the circle there, she could have walked it into the post.
That's the crucial area. So if you think it through, it does change the way you might defend a long-range shot fed from the corners near the baseline drop. You'd really pull off it, because another rule that's changed is a rule that states if you do break your distance, you land within 3 feet before the ball is released. Even if you clear, it becomes a penalty now.
Bit of a stop-start beginning to this match, 1-1. We'll leave the rules alone for a while and talk about them again when they come up. Hodge.
Talk about Hodge making a transition in the team with Orien Cobb missing, but in fairness, she really did stamp her authority and make the challenge last season, really forcing the issue of a decision for Margango.
Yeah, Hodge isn't in this lineup by default, really. That's what we're saying, that she started to earn her stripes last year, put the pressure on Cobb. Romeo
will want to make the most of these opportunities, knowing that Jackie Delaney is probably a matter of weeks away from coming back on court.
She looks fantastic now.
Yeah, she looks great. She's really been putting in some court time, even though it's partial. Baby only a matter of weeks old, baby Yasmin, but Jackie really keen to get back in and contest a spot.
Driscoll pinged for the contact. Oh, the ambitious, successful ball to Harvey, to Purser. Thunderbirds at their best. Purser. That's a lovely goal from Thunderbirds, sweeping down court.
And that, I think it's fair to say, is an example of an obstruction call. Taverner landing and turning to block, but staying within the 3 feet is one of the new things you may notice throughout the competition. I know we don't want to labour on the rules, but I think we should put out a bit of a warning that these rules are not for grassroots netball or state league netball, so kids don't try them. It's specifically for this competition to let...
This glass at the back of the court is strong. Watch Sue Howie.
Trying to keep the ball alive, but Driscoll can't get past Sutter.
I think it's bulletproof, the glass down that end. Howie was just testing, Taverner, the Benison.
Yeah, we should just clarify that even though Australia has some concerns about the rules and has sent a letter of protest in, they're implementing them so that the top players can get a touch of them looking ahead towards Commonwealth Games. But kids, please, don't touch them. It's dangerous stuff.
Yeah. Don't try this at home, Harvey and Howie. And it's a penalty against Phoenix. And that's 8-3 against Phoenix in the early stages. The penalty's going against them. But they've grabbed 3 intercepts.
And I'm sure those players on court who have just returned from Jamaica are relishing the whistle that allows them to contest but have some protection in the process, having really struggled with Jamaica across 3 tests, in fact losing that first one by 2.
Nice bit of work by Romeo on the baseline there. They caught Taverner and Illich unawares. Have to get used to Illich, because Janine married in the off-season. A long-time fella.
Lovely screen then by Southby to allow Driscoll the baseline run onto the ball. Howie picking it up. Good vision to the circle by Susan Howie. And Driscoll slotting in nicely.
So nearly 6 minutes gone. 4-2.
Beautiful work from Simone McInnes, hands over the ball. In fact, that's one of her nicknames. They're always encouraging a hands over, so she's just been shortened to hands. And she does it so well.
Purser.
Illich.
Over the enthusiastic Illich, Southby, Howie, Benison and Harvey contesting. Harvey comes away with it. Hodge, Sanders.
Goalkeeper, top of the circle.
It's quite an urgency in the way the Thunderbirds are starting this quarter. I guess testimony to the fitness level that Catherine Harvey mentioned beforehand.
Romeo pops another through, and it's a nice lead for Thunderbirds. Harvey dominant early, really venturing up court. Romeo strong. Romeo and Purser look pretty solid in the early stages there.
Yes, I'm impressed with the way they've opened. There's no signs of any misunderstanding. Of course, they will have played together previously. It's just that the dominant combination has been Delaney and Purser. But I think Marisa Romeo making good fist of her opportunity. I mean, you can't really compare this to last year's grand final. The difference then was 10 in favour of the Phoenix. But certainly the Thunderbirds really making a good fist of this start.
Well, they met 4 times last year, and Phoenix won 3 of them, including the one that really mattered, the grand final, 58-48. The Thunderbirds did win at home. Oh, Illich, okay.
And here's an example, the throw-in called by Boyle, but not play called. Just watching Illich straight through, and did catch a bit of Romeo, but it's just a bit. So whilst the umpires will call who's to take the throw-in, they will not call play from now on, and that's to speed up the play of the game, less disruption to the game. Steve, an important feature for the Thunderbirds in this good opening is the availability of Catherine Harvey. She's really doing a lot of work down court. I think Southby will have to tighten up her defence.
You might have noticed there, Southby moved that penalty across within the circle, perhaps a metre, to make the angle she was more comfortable with.
And that is the intention of the rule, to allow a player not have to be set right beside the offending player. The intention of the rule was just to free that up and not to be pedantic about retaking a penalty. But I think in the clarification of the wording, they've stretched it sideline to sideline, which sort of opens a can of worms.
Yeah, I was talking to a couple of the players before the match, Southby and Driscoll. I said, well, who'd be a defender? And they just smiled and said, well, we got the better of it, that's for sure.
Absolutely. With respect to the most significant changes, they really do make the defenders rethink their style of play.
Taverner, Benison, Driscoll, Benison again. Sanders, ooh, that was potentially dangerous, but up she comes.
Bit of Jamaica back with her.
Yeah.
Contact, wing defence.
Just have a look. Sanders came from an onside area, but really forced her way through. Had no room to land, and that's, of course, causing a penalty.
6 left in the first quarter as Driscoll. Plenty under that. Came down at a nice angle, so no hesitation in the shot. 7-6 now. So from 6-2 down, 7-6 down.
A great deal of composure in the Phoenix lineup. When you look at them from Benison backwards, it really is a very established lineup. Only the Southby Driscoll combination to fall into place, and that looks pretty sweet to me.
Hodge.
Hodge is working the 1-2 nicely with Rebecca Sanders and taking the feed in the corners.
Well short from Romeo and snaffled by Taverner.
And the netballer of the year takes a nice stride through the court, but doesn't collect it for the Phoenix. Simone McInnes, I don't even think it's arguably the world's best wing defence. She is it.
Driscoll to Southby. And Eloise Southby picked up 4 caps in the Caribbean. Played in all 3 matches against Jamaica and 1 against Barbados. I think, according to all reports, she performed with great distinction. Sanders to Romeo.
Pass or shot, out further. Yes.
Nice offload, great deception from Romeo, who looked to the post and just slipped it over to Purser.
Penalties like the score have evened up. It's 12-11 against Phoenix.
Great block from Harvey, working well over the ball, and picks up her own crumbs.
Oh, well, that was ambitious. Sanders not on the chase for that one. Perhaps didn't realise it was coming for her.
No, I think she thought the outlet was to Hodge, who was in a good feeding position at the top of the circle.
Howie. Benison frees herself up from Squire.
Obstruction, wing defence.
Howie uses the rule nicely. That's an interesting one. Right across court.
Well, thinking player is going to shift along the line, stay in line with the player out of play, but shift along the line to try and take the non-cluttered side of the court where there's least defence. And also if a player moves around a block, as Driscoll did.
I tell you what that does do is provide a new outlet for those sidestepping drills. You know, hustle sideways across the court, looking for the angle that suits you to take the pass.
Well, I just hope the whistle doesn't go too much to set a penalty, because you could have a bit of a chess game going on. If you consider how he moves to the left and there's another penalty further down, it could be taken to the right. We could watch the whole movement of the game without any actual play. Hopefully Advantage will take care of that.
Howie. Benison gets the bounce pass. Howie again. Oh, a bump from Harvey on Driscoll. Fairly clear to see. Under 3 minutes left. First quarter. 8-all.
Driscoll tried to promote that to the post. I think she misunderstands that the actual rule is sideline to sideline. Either that or she misunderstood the call.
Benison. Sharon Burge on the far side, like Janine Illich was recently married. She's kept herself Burge.
For netball, I understand it to be.
Squire, Hodge, Romeo.
Hodge just coming back off the ball just to open up play. It was a little cluttered approaching the circle.
Turnover, and Phoenix is starting to look dangerous. Squire nearly got some of that.
Yeah, good watching from Peter Squire, and a nice pass from Benison to the baseline.
Oh, Southfield take it like a pinball machine, rattling around between legs and arms in there, and it's Phoenix by 2 now. Remember, they were trailing 6-2.
Eloise Southby was very consistent away in the West Indies, and she's put up 4 from 5 in this match, so she's opened well for Phoenix.
Well, Phoenix were on an 8-2 run until that one from Romeo. Made things look a little better.
Well, all in all, we've got a pretty even contest on our hands, and you'd have to say these two are the most favoured for the competition.
Oh, Sanders. How's the athleticism and the crowd appreciating it too?
Very unassuming player, Rebecca Sanders. She had her bags packed to come home from Australian selections, thinking she didn't have a chance and had to repack them.
60 seconds left, first quarter, 10-all.
Thunderbirds using the back door just to allow a variation from the centre.
And the home side back in front through Purser. So a great match beginning to unfold here. Southby.
Contact, goalkeeper, pass or shot.
Driscoll.
Thunderbirds.
Sure to be reasonably well pleased with her opening 15 minutes for the new team.
Yeah, she'll come off at this stage with a 70% for the first quarter. In fact, all on court pretty tidy. Benison using the ball to steady herself.
Harvey. Squire. Phoenix trying to prevent the last goal before quarter time. Trying to choke the mid-court of Phoenix. Arms up over the ball. Harvey finds an outlet. Purser, yes. Off the hands of Illich. And the shot not successful anyway, so we stay with a tied scoreline. Great opening quarter for the new season of the Commonwealth Bank Trophy. And at quarter time, Thunderbirds 11, Phoenix 11. Kath Harvey and Rebecca Sanders, two of the Australian players in the Thunderbirds lineup, discussing how we're going to tackle the title holders, Janine Illich and Sharon Purser. Underway in the second quarter. Let's have a look at the shooting stats.
Well, none too shabby from Sharon Purser with 6 from 6 at 100%. And Romeo too, quite fine, 5 from 7. For the Phoenix, Driscoll was solid at 70%. Eloise Southby ever consistent with 4 from 5. So pretty good from all on court in that opening quarter.
Thunderbirds shot well and only missed 2 shots, so that's a fine opening. Hodge gets Romeo, Harvey. Sanders, Purser, hands to the floor, then up again. Had to be quick and was.
That's a sweet shot from Sharon Purser. The wrist working nicely for her.
Squire. Sanders.
Oh, taken on the fingertips. What control from Rebecca Sanders. She's a really interesting player to watch, as is Susan Howie. Important for the juniors to watch how they work off the ball and free space for the others down court. A lot of their work is done creating space, then picking up their entrance again into the game.
Well, the ball did about a 7:20 there, and the Thunderbirds get the first two of the second quarter. A break against Southby. Thunderbirds could convert here and build a bit of a lead. Well, Purser overbalancing, had to get the shot away quickly.
Third contact.
Benison. Sidearm shot to Howie. Benison.
It's interesting then, Hodge querying that McInnes wasn't anywhere near her, but Hodge hadn't actually stood where the offence had taken place. McInnes had moved along that line, so that's an example of how you'll see a bit of difference in the taking of the penalty.
Harvey to Hodge as Thunderbirds sweep down court, but pause mid-court. Romeo back to Squire. Sanders now. Purser off the ring. Romeo in good position to take the offensive rebound.
She'd snuck inside Taverner so she could hold her out from that rebound, so really good positioning from her.
Well, Sanders.
She was looking for the 1-2, looking to drive that on down the sideline. Yeah, she looks super fit.
Hodge caught up in McInnes and Howie there. Illich to Taverner. Purser apologises. That looked a little unsubtle.
Contact centre, goal third. Just goal third.
A little bit of a disappointing crowd, really, Anne, considering, you know, we've got 1 and 2 from the league last year. New venue that's comfortable, great to be in, air-conditioned, warm autumn evening. No better place to be in Adelaide. Where are they? Yeah, we're
Maybe they're saving themselves for next week when they come out to watch the two local teams go around, Ravens and Thunderbirds.
Southby. And I think it would only be expected that Driscoll stays on after a good opening quarter. And you know, you spoke to Norma before the match, and I think that she makes a good point. She wants players like Driscoll to fill. They're not just going to be bench players. I mean, she's not as good, shall we say, as Sherelle McMahon at this stage, but you never know when you're going to need her. And first game of the season, let her know, look, you're part of our team, and she hasn't let her down.
Well, she's right to present confidence in Driscoll, and it's important the whole team knows that they have access to the court, confidence from the coach, and that they are as strong irrespective of the combination. Having said that, I think we'll see McMahon probably come on at half-time. And that would be a great position, wouldn't it, if they hold till half-time or even keep an advantage and then go back to a combination that they're more comfortable with. But all things looking good for the defending champions.
Thunderbirds by 2, though. Phoenix, Benison, Driscoll. Driscoll looking more and more at home out there.
Now, Southby's providing a lot of screens for Driscoll to drive onto the ball, so Southby really reading the circle well, combining nicely.
Purser.
That's such a characteristic move from Purser. Just drifts off the defender and likes to take the high, long ball.
Howie with the centre pass. Benison.
Body check there from Hodge, just nudging McInnes out of contention for that centre pass. So Susan Howie elected to go the front.
Southby this time over Sutter.
Great hold from Sarah Sutter and forces a 3-second call. That would have been one of those examples where the option would have been there on a contact or an obstruction to walk your shot in, but excellent timing from Sutter.
And you saw where she took it from, right in the corner. So she really didn't, she moved it across, perhaps 5 metres. Purser quickly onto Romeo. That's a nice build-up and finish from Thunderbirds.
Taken on a string by Rebecca Sanders, and the quick interplay, Purser to Romeo to finish.
Penalties continue to be pretty even, although Thunderbirds have now conceded 3 more. It's 21 against them, 18 against Phoenix. Phoenix have taken 6 intercepts to 3. Turnovers about even. Touch off the fingers of Taverner.
Offside call coming before the sideline throw-in. Quick hands from Romeo and good support from Hodge, who's reading the moves of his shoot as well. We talked about the confidence the Phoenix would have knowing they've got McMahon on the sideline, but for the Thunderbirds, they've got Jackie Delaney still up their sleeve for rounds to come, and it's a strong opening from them.
Goal defence. Pass or shot.
A 6-3 start to the second quarter by Adelaide. They had a 6-2 run at the start of the first and then were caught. Perhaps that was something Mark Ango discussed at quarter time. It's a 60-minute game. Ooh, through the hands of Romeo, who was thinking about the next pass, I think. Benison, Howie, Southby, Benison.
Goal defence. Contact keeper over the top.
Now this is one that could be walked in.
And he's
in line.
Yeah, see, it's got to be in line with where the offending player offended. So if Sutter wasn't on the baseline, if she was out from the baseline, it's a different angle altogether.
Wing defence. Goal third.
Where's my chalk? Where's my texter? Where's my blackboard?
Where's the telestrator?
Section. Pass or shot.
I think it's worth having a chat to them in the break, asking could they feed it from the corner, just drop it in that pocket, just so I can explain it.
Hodge, Purser.
Goalkeeper.
Hodge to Purser. And that's a good rebound from Illich to Taverner now. Howie.
I suppose it's all right if we call Mrs. Illich Inspector Gadget still, though, isn't it?
Yeah, well,
can get away with that. Oh, good touch from Sutter. It was a brave challenge. Left the circle exposed, but she was confident that she had the goods. Backed herself well. Oh, some speed from Benison. I'll tell you what, there's not many players on court lacking speed. They're looking pretty good for an opening match.
The pace has been on from the opening whistle.
Instruction.
And all tied up again, so the Phoenix just won't be shaken off.
Driscoll, Howie wants it.
Offside centre.
Sanders offside.
Yeah, long cross-court ball. Harvey has a go, but takes the body of Susan Howie with her.
Goal defence. Instruction. In the edge. Yes. Along the line, back further.
No, this is where we're having confusion. Howie's, a lot of the players are thinking the line is from the circle to the post. It's not, it's from sideline to sideline.
Right. And Driscoll still coming to terms with that.
Yeah, and I think Susan Howie asked the question.
It's a line through the infringement from sideline to sideline.
So with respect to a shot, at the risk of harping on it, if it's a baseline penalty, then they can walk it in.
And I'm sure that umpires like Boyle and Burge won't mind the players, you know, can you just explain a little bit where I can take it? And, you know, everyone's got to be walked through this because it's only just arrived.
Well, the other part of the rule indicates that you can't take up a position, then change your mind and then keep walking it in. You need to set your position where you take it. So if you walk part way in and stop your stance, that's where you go.
I see.
If there is a defender between you and where you want to go, you must indicate to the umpire, excuse me, I'd like to go past there. So it might speed up the game, but slow it down in all the chat, all the niceties.
Illich to Taverner. McInnes.
Wing attack and goal defence.
Dennison away from Squire, who had a bit of a dip.
No one home for the Phoenix. Southby was on offer outside the circle and Driscoll was doing her work on the edge. A little slow to get position.
Southby picks up what she'd nearly left behind. And they're in front by 2 now, having trailed by 3. Similar story to the first quarter.
That is contact wing. Contact centre.
Contact against Sanders. Howie to take it. Southby offloads to Driscoll. Oh, it had a look.
Thunderbirds.
Hodge.
Vantage goal attack of
Purser, and Thunderbirds have stopped, really. And that turnover, typical of the way the momentum has swung to their opponents.
Well, Howie under pressure there from Sanders. I think she might have been better served to use the speed and drive the goal third.
Southby has it now. Driscoll, long-range shot for her.
And again, it was a good hold by Sutter, but she did fall within the 3 seconds, so that's why the obstruction call came from Maureen Boyle.
And she's asked for time, Sarah Sutter.
Yeah, indicated back on the call. And she held her back. Maybe she was just holding her back and thinking of something else. We'll find out soon enough. No?
Looks like the thigh, quadricep perhaps.
Yeah.
Well, it might be a timely moment for Thunderbirds to have a little breather here with things going against them. Margango finds her team trailing by 4. Remember, they were up 17-14. So they've been outscored 9-2 in the last 8 or so minutes.
Yeah, the Phoenix, the same pattern as we said, as in the first quarter, have stayed with the game, consolidated, then put the foot down. Maybe a legacy of the shooting combination just finding its way through. They're certainly solid at the back, you can't question that. Sutter indicating she'd like to stretch out that quad. Norma Plummer never gives much away. She's pretty patient.
Yeah, Pat Chappell, a long-time manager of Phoenix. She's also has a little bit more to say, a little bit more demonstrative.
Yeah. Now, Sutter working off the opposing leg in that replay, although she has used the other one to balance, but I'm not sure that's what would have caused a strain.
Underway at 23-19, Phoenix leading it, and 3:20 left on the clock, second quarter.
Offside, centre.
You know, the benefits of Driscoll's outing here might be felt well down the track if she can, you know, go confidently here, be on a winning side tonight. And though she's matched it against, you know, Sutter and Harvey, 2 Australian defenders.
Certainly didn't show any nerves, did she?
Advantage calls, goal defence. Contact.
Illich struggling to get back her distance before taking up a defensive stance, and she's pinged by Sharon Burge.
It's just sympathy for another Sharon, I reckon. So Purser converts. And the lead is 3. Harvey, Sanders, Purser breaks away from the pack.
And she acknowledges Romeo with a little pat on the back for that strong hold.
Phoenix girls aren't sure if they like the bright purple of their uniform, but I was assuring them that it looks, they're the Wimbledon colours, purple and green, actually.
So they're on winning colours, you think?
Perhaps.
They're certainly graphically strong, and I think that's visually good for our audience.
And out she
that was
comes.
the uniform in full swing.
Illich.
Oh, Southby was on off, but had no eyes for the ball. She was busy setting up a screen. Had she opened to her right, she had the circle to herself.
Whose hands was that off?
Phoenix in the circle.
And a screamer from Janine Illich onto Benison.
Holding on, goal defender, pass or shot.
And one goes against Harvey. And the penalty count, interestingly, is really starting to build against the Thunderbirds. 33 against them, 21 against Phoenix.
Phoenix!
So as they've struggled, they've infringed. 70 seconds left, second quarter, and it's Thunderbirds by 4.
Oh, nice pass on from Southby to Driscoll. That was good vision.
Thunderbirds!
And quickly delivered.
Advantage break.
Hodge flies. Romeo.
Obstruction, wing defence.
Purser.
Shooter contact.
Contact against Purser. Taverner moved it laterally.
Ooh, Sutter's hunting around behind the ball at the top of the circle.
Driscoll's being well guarded by Sutter. Benison. Driscoll Ferry on the baseline now. And that's number 27. for Phoenix. Howie. And with the timekeeper not yet up. Opportunity for someone to score here. And maybe now it'll be Phoenix.
Well, McInnes replies to Sutter's intercept and puts Phoenix back in possession.
Driscoll outside the circle again. Howie, I wonder, Southby. No. And didn't quite get the opportunity to put an accurate one away. But that's a quarter that will certainly please Norma Plummer, with her team taking a 6-goal lead at half-time. So the visitors, Melbourne Phoenix 27, Adelaide Thunderbirds 21. Thunderbirds have given away 35 penalties to Phoenix's 22 now, and Phoenix have picked up 8 intercepts to 4. Thunderbirds guilty of more turnovers, 7 more in fact, and they've been a little bit more accurate from fewer opportunities, the Thunderbirds, but that doesn't help them in the big picture, I'm afraid.
The turnovers, though, pretty well reflect the extra attempts or opportunities that Phoenix have been able to utilise, so you can't afford to create a turnover. Girls are too accurate in this game and they make you pay.
Alex Hodge in the centre position now. And Sanders will be at wing attack. She's on the floor already. That's a not very graceful start to the second half, third quarter for Sanders. And also Sherelle McMahon is on.
And we should point out that the Phoenix have changed their goal shooter and goal attack around, hence the 0 stats on the board against their goal attack. But for Southby, who's now moved to goal shooter, she put up 10 from 13 during that second half. So first half, I'm sorry, at 76%. For the Thunderbirds, 80% for Purser and 81% for Romeo.
So Sherelle McMahon on for Driscoll, who had as we said, a good first half for her new club, having left the Kestrels.
Contact.
Bryant, Jocelyn Bryant going across to the Kestrels from Phoenix. Driscoll coming to Phoenix from Kestrels, and of course Nicole Cusack going from Sydney Sandpipers to Kestrels. So they've got a very potent looking front three with Shelley O'Donnell, Jocelyn Bryant and Nicole Cusack. So if they can get enough ball, they should do something with it.
Yeah, they've got some wonderful movers and some great accuracy in Bryant and Cusack. And they'll be solid enough at the back too, so they're really trying to push up from that wooden spoon position. They won't have any of that. They say they're on target for the 4.
Contact on the ball.
Romeo. Purser.
And as Nikki Cusack so nicely pointed out, she can't be made responsible for a worse position than 8th.
Romeo, Hodge, Purser, absolutely open.
Home alone and screaming with Sharon Purser. Took them a while to pick her up. She was there for the previous 2 passes. A good recovery from the Thunderbirds to start the 3rd quarter.
Vantage contact centre in obstruction.
Southby, a little side armour to Howie.
Oh, nice move on the baseline from McMahon, who saw the gap and drove it. Snuck around Catherine Harvey. Just gave her a bit too much room there.
Hodge to Sanders.
It's not often we see Rebecca Sanders at wing attack. It's something different for the eye, but she sights Purser well.
And Romeo at the second attempt. So they've again made a good start to the quarter, Thunderbirds, but they've got to keep it going. Talking to Mark Angove the other day, and I said, what do you think was the main lesson to be learnt out of the grand final last year? And said, well, really, it's a 60-minute game. They just turned off for 7 or 8 minutes, failed to play good netball, and they got rolled over.
I think we said that even in commentary. It felt like the heads dropped for a second, and the belief that they could win fell away.
Romeo to Sanders. Purser. Oh, short.
Vantage contact shooter.
Tapping it to Howie. So the lead now only 3. 16-10. Melbourne won the second quarter after an 11-all first quarter.
It's a shame then for the Thunderbirds. They've done a good job at stopping the Phoenix drive through the midcourt, only to see it come undone and the Phoenix get the throw in.
Bit of a worry for Thunderbirds, looking to see McMahon coming on at half-time after they've already seen a 6-goal lead build for the visitors, and on comes one of the hottest properties in Australian netball.
Had a chat to her before the game and asked was she allowed out on tour in Jamaica, because she is the baby and she was underage, and she said she did manage a couple of outings. Sorry, Mr. and Mrs. McMahon, to dob her in.
Just a superb athlete is Sherelle McMahon.
Well, I guess more importantly, she got some outings on court and she really did impress in those moments. So good things in her debut.
Sutter, big ball to Harvey, too big in the end.
Almost to the coach.
Howie to McMahon.
Vantage contact, wing defense.
Southby.
Another great hold from Sarah Sutter over the shot, and the Thunderbirds quickly turned it into possession.
Oh, how quick was... Oh, down goes Illich.
She called time, but it wasn't acknowledged. Maureen Boyle just checking again as she runs down the sideline to see whether she wants to persist with the call or she's going to work through it in back play. I guess we'll have to wait and see.
She's managing to smile. Maureen Boyle still checking her out, but hasn't called for it.
That's a grimace now, and the hands have gone up for a time call, but she can't get anybody's attention.
Obstruction shooter. Hold time, please.
Yeah, and Janine Illich looking a little stiff on that left knee. Didn't look too good in passing.
And you see Illich coming in from the right of screen, trips over Purse's left foot and hits the deck quite heavily. So an awkward fall for Janine.
I guess she's Mrs. Gadget now.
That's what I was looking for. Or maybe Mr. Illich's inspector.
Wayne
got to
Rogers.
stop with it.
Wayne Rogers, the medico they brought with them. Pat Chappell, the manager, in the background there. And knee came and hit the deck pretty firmly. She might have grazed it. It could be a blood rule as much as anything. Some of the stats of the match so far, and penalties still heavily against the Thunderbirds there.
It's really difficult to win a match from stats like that. And
25 turnovers against the Thunderbirds.
Yeah, and the turnovers, of course, are a positive stat, for example, an intercept. So whilst they are doing... Sorry, intercepts obviously are quite clean, and they're indicated they're in favour of the Phoenix, which gives you a bit of a reason for why they're pushing along.
Illich getting the strapping applied. I'm sure she'll be right in a minute or less, like in about 5 seconds.
Yeah, I was about to say, I thought he was looking more at the, the positioning of the kneecap and trying to give us some security around that area.
Move it around from behind the knee to the front again.
Yeah, just trying to... No, yeah. Just to help the ligaments adapt.
The floating patella.
Yeah.
Hodge, Sanders. Oh, good return ball. And up goes Illich. Nothing wrong with the knees.
No, that tested out the left foot landing.
Obstruction goal attack.
Howie, Southby.
It's a tight game again. The Phoenix were in a position at half-time with a 6-goal lead to really go on with it.
Obstruction. Pass a shot.
Oh, and that's come out twice. That'll be Sutter's. So 2 misses there. Well, it's only counted as 1 because the first was obstruction, but McMahon not converting everything that comes away. Nor should we expect to, but it does happen.
A little too much backspin and a little too much adrenaline under it.
Benison keeps the balance.
And she's testing out the same left knee, I think. Yeah, the offers really shut down then on the Phoenix. McInnes was looking for some strong movement towards the ball. It was really lateral.
Obstruction against Hodge. Howie finds Benison, finds McMahon. And the lead is 4.
Just thinking the interpretation of the new rule in the taking of the penalty around the circle edge is quite different in that instinctively the feeder will move around the circle and not a sideline to sideline position. So that really works against the interpretation, doesn't it?
Hodge.
You're thinking about it?
Yeah, I am. Yeah. Romeo.
I could tell by the vacant look.
Yeah, you could hear the cogs turning and nothing coming out the other end. Yeah.
I was surprised one of the players didn't call for time till the noise stopped, actually. Oh, hunting around is Squire.
Norma Plummer threw her hands in the air there. She didn't like something she saw.
Well, she perhaps would have preferred it to have been played on.
Contact on the ball, wing defence outside the circle. Yep.
A lot of pressure on the umpires. We should acknowledge that too, to try and administer these new rules.
Well, they're so foreign to them, and the wording's so dicey that they really have to pull from something that's not natural to them and apply it.
Little over halfway through the third quarter, and it's Phoenix by 4.
I think Netball Australia, and particularly the umpiring fraternity, whilst they have very serious concerns, have been extremely positive and supportive in their approach. They've been very, very fair to the players in giving them this competition to adapt and explore the rules, because Commonwealth Games, should they be in effect there, if the protest achieves nothing, the players will need to play under that whistle. So it's important from the player perspective this be allowed to operate despite everybody's concerns. So full marks to our umpires and administrators on that note.
Squire pulls down an intercept. Tries to get Thunderbirds going as the lead is out to 5 again. Danger time, as it has been in the first 2 quarters.
A strong work from Illich on the base to cover Purser's moves.
A touch from Harvey. Sanders picks up. Purser now. Really must goal here, Thunderbirds.
Centre, contact.
But contact by Hodge on McInnes.
Hold time. On the whistle. Right on.
We saw the new rule at work there, but Janine Illich just not quite sure if she'd done it the right way, but she had.
Thinking, you'll let me know if I'm wrong, won't you?
Be gentle with me. I'm still working it out.
Advantage break.
I guess the consensus here would be that they don't operate for Commonwealth Games, and if they do, obviously internationally umpires have to get together, because the expanse of interpretations, given the wording is so loose, could be horrific.
McMahon. 33-26 the lead. Now the biggest it's been. Southby. And Harvey and Sutter had it between them. Hodge. Romeo. Also on the Thunderbirds bench is Marnie Winter, who's come across from Ravens.
Yes, that's one of the transfers we haven't talked about. She, of course, is a utility defender. Cassie Mogg also on the bench, and Vicky Neal. But I don't really see them deviating from this lineup in an attempt to win this one.
Purser. Howie with a centre pass. Benison. 4 minutes left, third quarter. The champions doing the front running. Oh, McInnes had a look. That's opened it up though. Purser. Oh, Taverner.
Looked pretty good to that last pass, didn't it? Nice movement down court, nice flow, and then straight down the throat.
Didn't worry Taverner, they were outnumbered.
Thunderbirds. Circle.
Well, it was catch it or eat it, really. Slam down.
Advantage, but you had control of it.
And that footwork call against Harvey coming because Sharon Burge considered that Harvey had control and had taken it.
And she's still shaking her head, Kath Harvey. Didn't like that call from Sharon Burge. I don't think the Adelaide crowd enjoyed it too much either.
I think they're fairly quiet, don't you? All in all, the Adelaide crowd, they really haven't gotten into the game. I don't know that they're doing a great deal to help their side. They're more watching the game. no doubt appreciating it, but very much watching. That's a good work from Harvey over the ball, and will make McMahon think again when there's strong hands over.
Hodge. And she just stepped over the sideline, nearly rolled her ankle too. It's all going against Thunderbirds at the moment, and the lead is 6.
Nice.
Too much more, and they'll really struggle to be in it in the last quarter. Sutter and Harvey still trying at the back.
Well, the turnovers are coming from the back, but it's unravelling through the mid-court and connecting down to their goal third.
Instruction in the circle.
I'm not sure about the switch between Sanders and Hodge. I really think Sanders reads the game well and opens a lot of space, and it'd be interesting to see what Margangov's logic was in reversing those positions, whether it was to rest or get fresh legs happening. I think Hodge tends to put all the speed out but not really open up space as much.
She is with it now. Sanders is where they're getting caught between the top of the circle and the transverse line. They're choking, really.
Well, the moves are coming a little more slowly now from Romeo and Purser in the circle. I think that's where it's broken down.
And it's resulted in a loss of confidence in shooting, really.
Now the crowd's behind it. They're really protesting the forcing call. Maureen Boyle indicated that in using her hips, Romeo had forced the contact, left the Phoenix defenders with no place to go. And that's a footwork call they love. We just had to suggest it and they got into the game.
Hold time. Anywhere where you are. You can. No, it's centre third, the infringement. I haven't blown
Susan Howie looking, stepping.
looking.
Well, she obviously wanted to dispose of the ball. She really had no option other than just to release it and hope someone ran under it. It's ran out of time.
Purser to Romeo. Crowd will like this if it goes in, and it does.
An advantage call from Maureen Boyle.
So Thunderbirds hanging in there. The lead was 6 at half-time. It's only 5 now.
Catherine Harvey with a bit to say after that penalty.
Sutter looking for a big outlet, but goes for Hodge. Harvey works an awkward one too with Hodge, but it's effective.
Yeah, it's clever work though from Harvey then to offload so quickly.
Purser.
And there it comes. Nice approach to the post from the Thunderbirds.
And a nice move from Hodge. In and away, if you like. And the lead now only 4, and they've got the centre pass.
I think it's there, but it's only there in patches for the Thunderbirds, and perhaps across, as we said, 60 minutes of netball, it's not a natural combination for them, so it just needs some work. That's sweeter, and they've lifted themselves.
Good goal, Purser, and they're coming home towards the end of a quarter for the first time in the match, having let the first and second get away from them. Harvey.
Nothing on offer for Catherine Harvey then.
She really just had to let it go into space before the 3-second call was out. Purser, well, that's hit the rim too hard and bounced out. Howie, and they're down in the goal third in 2 passes.
Oh, Sutter.
Looking to deny Phoenix 1 more goal in the dying seconds of the third. Timekeeper's up.
Hold time.
And there's only surely 2 or 3 seconds left. Timekeeper right beside Maureen Boyle, and Thunderbirds have done well to keep Phoenix at bay in the last 15 seconds. So we've got quite a last quarter coming up now with the lead only 3. Phoenix 34, Thunderbirds 31. Well, Melbourne Phoenix have cause to be a little bit worried. They were well beaten, really, in that third quarter, 10-7. Janine Illich looks okay, if not 100% on the left knee, and she's removed the strapping. Underway in the final quarter. Romeo to Hodge.
And just looking at the stats, they've fallen away across the match, of course, for Phoenix shooter, which is now Southby. 5 from 8, so 62% in that new role. 12 from 18, 66%. They're down below what Melbourne Plummer would want. For the Thunderbirds, 65%. That's fallen down for Purser as well. But for Romeo, fairly solid at 77.
Just to set you straight there, McMahon is now the shooter. So Southby and McMahon have swapped in the three-quarter time break.
And we should remind the viewers that as soon as that happens, the stats stay as they were for the previous quarter, so not a true indication.
The lead is 2. Oh! Sutter. Don't think I've seen that in match play before.
Well, she won't want to whinge about the knee again, will she?
Purser lost the handle. And it was actually Hodge caught offside that drew the whistle of Sharon Burge. Howie, McInnes. They must feel they can win this now, Thunderbirds, with only down by 2. I don't think McMahon slotted into the game as quickly or as forcefully as she would have liked in the third. Pretty hard coming off the bench into a match that's played at some pace. Really get a feel for it in a couple of minutes.
Oh, that's very much the case. I think, too, up against a very strong competitor in Catherine Harvey, so she probably was just feeling her way around. She has a chance, though, to really use her speed and some change of direction on Sarah Sutter and see what territory she can open up.
Romeo. Howie to Benison. Heavy clash with Squire. I think Maureen Boyle and Sharon Burge ought to be congratulated for trying to let a fairly fast and physical game flow. We've seen a lot of good netball. More finicky umpiring might have seen it pulled up a bit more.
I think that's Australian style, and they're two of the best exponents that we have. Very much in control, but very much allowing the contest. Bear in mind, they've had a few new rules to juggle in their own heads.
McInnes. Howie.
Benison holding space and really just offering a couple of strides off the mark.
McMahon.
And she copes well with the reach of Sutter.
Romeo. Purser. They do it well. Goal for goal they go.
Possession granted to Sherelle McMahon then, and I think Sutter arguing she had single-handed possession. She did have one hand inside the ball.
It's hard to do, put your hand inside the ball.
You're so literal. My point being, you know, you can have possession with one hand. It's not always assumed that two hands give you dominance.
McMahon's cast a plate.
Yeah, I think Sutter's case would be she had one hand out, and you can have single-handed possession.
Her one hand got to it before the two of McMahon. I think that's a fair call there.
Notch up one.
Yeah. Well,
for the season, we probably
if I
won't
can't follow the rules, you at least get me one up on the
It's a
English.
worry you're voting for me.
Harvey, Romeo. Oh, precision pass from Romeo to Sanders. See how close the back wall is to the back line. It's the only thing that worries me a little about this new stadium.
I'll move it for you by next week. To the difference, and you can sense the momentum's changed, and the Thunderbirds really have come alive again. They looked a little dead and buried, didn't they, towards the end of the third quarter?
A couple of calls went against them that they felt shouldn't, and that seemed to wake them up. The umpires inadvertently maybe did them a favour.
Well, it's disheartening. You know, they were creating turnovers and their defenders were offering some solid work, but it wasn't being utilised, and you can only do that so many times before you become disheartened. Whoa. Crunch on the post.
I know that. No, yes.
Don't the new rules mean you can move the post sideways?
Yeah.
Apparently not. Hodge, Sanders, Romeo in a good contest with Taverner.
And here we'll see the new throw-in situation. It's been acknowledged as Thunderbird. She steps up and she puts it in.
Hodge. Romeo under pressure.
I think Maureen and Sharon have done extremely well not to say play. Not one in the whole game. It's discipline.
Still it's 2 the lead.
You know, Sharon's just back from a honeymoon. She really hasn't had a lot of time to absorb the changes and practice them.
Well, that's true for the players too. Who've been away in the Caribbean, or in Illich's case, getting married as well.
Well, a bit of pace back into the game. The urgency's been upped as they run it back to the centres now.
At the season launch on Tuesday, Nicole Cusack was trying to explain to Simone McInnes what the new rules were.
Well, I had a chat to Shelley O'Donnell. She'd been away on an extended break, and she said, look, I don't understand them. I haven't even heard them all. I'm just going to go out and play.
Yeah.
But I'm sure the coaches will take the time to think about how they can use the rules well and what alterations they may need to make in defensive situations.
Contact wing defence.
Harvey crashes to the floor. No whistle. Phoenix reassume the 3-goal lead. Romeo, Sanders.
Instruction and first. Contact outside the circle.
Oh, fired on from Romeo to Purser, who takes it well and delivers.
Margango, nearly a smile there. I think she's got to be proud of the way the team's performed since about halfway through the third quarter. Could have been down and out, and they're anything but. Penalties. The Thunderbirds have conceded 20 more, 56 to 36.
When you concede that penalty, you should have to be delighted they're anywhere within touch of the scoreline.
Oh, take that from Southby. Harvey, back to Hodge. Purser leads out. Sanders and Romeo. That was well executed. Just needs the finish from Romeo, and it's not there. Oh, how short was that?
Ran out of petrol on that one.
Yeah. Fortunately, she was the only one near the rebound.
Mind you, she's pretty solid for the match. Just 6 misses for 18 goals. So, oh, take McMahon.
McMahon in full flight.
And full stretch.
Yeah, it's nice to watch. She really gets up off the deck. The vertical jump is something pretty special. Hodge under pressure from McInnes.
Goal attack instruction.
Umpire's feeling the pace too. I think it's really being played at speed.
Bit of give and take, and there you see again the penalty taken across to the side in line with the play, just to free up some space for the feed into the circle. A little bit of give and take going on between Benison and, well, it was on that occasion Hodge. They'd switched defenders, but elbow's getting a workout as the pressure's on.
Oh, McMahon's into stride now, and that's a dangerous sign for the Thunderbirds.
11 from 14 for Sherelle McMahon. Oh, that's taken head and all.
Purser. Oh, rattles one through to Sharon Purser. But they're down by 4. They need a couple of turnovers. Benison. McMahon to Howie in the corner. Hodge!
Well, brilliant work from Alex Hodge. Now she needs to keep the connection going in attack.
And she's already handled 3 times in this move. Purser. Purser not wasting any time, but timing her jump well was Taverner, and Illich the backup. So one wasted really by Thunderbirds. Any turnovers coming to them in the last 5.5 minutes have to be converted, especially with McMahon shooting like that. Harvey, Squire.
Advantage outside centre. Contact, passes 5.
They're not done with yet, but you see under 5 minutes to go, and the lead is 4. It's difficult for the Thunderbirds to come back from here. Howie to McMahon.
You saw then McInnes very quick to play the ball, and that's something else you consider in the taking of the penalty. What's the point walking it away if you're missing the opportunity to connect quickly? So she played it very quickly from the mark.
Hodge, Sanders and McInnes, the old hands over. Harvey to Hodge. Romeo.
Advantage centre extraction. Thunderbirds.
Illich giving Purser nowhere to go. Sanders.
Advantage extraction.
Well, work back to the opposite direction for Purser on the baseline. Margango, pained expression really.
It's been a pretty close battle, not too much between either team. There's been a lot of ebb and flow, hasn't there? I mean, the Phoenix have dominated for most of it. The pace set initially by the Thunderbirds. I just feel like the Thunderbirds may have time against them now in closing this margin.
Interesting use of the post there by Phoenix. Southby got a knock on the nose. Got the mouth guard in. I do like to see that. She calling for a little bit of help. Where's the physio? How did this happen? Somehow had a collision with Harvey. We didn't really see it too well. The hand perhaps reaching around the front for the ball and got nose instead.
I think watery eyes are a big part of the problem.
Yeah.
Trying to see where that ring is.
Catherine, you're out. Yep. On the whistle.
The quirks of the human body. You get a knock on the nose and your eyes water.
Can't figure it, can you?
It's crazy.
A nose ought to know where its place is, really. Oh, stepping in the circle by Hodge. Put a hop on.
Hodge the hop. McInnes. 3 to go. 5 the lead. And Phoenix ought to just get there. It's been a good battle. And I think knowing that Delaney in weeks to come will be back for Thunderbirds to choose from, to use how they wish, I think they'll feel they can run with Phoenix, even if they can't get the 2 points tonight. McMahon. Howie to Benison. I imagine that Margango will look at this tape and, as Harvey hits the floor, and wonder where some of these penalties came from and perhaps work on those, because as you pointed out, there are now 24 penalties more than Phoenix, and that's too many. That's got to be worth a few goals. Hodge and Squire have given up 28 of the 62. Harvey and Sutter only 16. So it's interesting that they're coming from wing defence and centre.
And that stat perhaps explaining too why they can't progress and connect into the shooters at times. It would be interesting to break down whether those penalties are occurring in defence or in attack. I suspect obviously most of them are from a defensive position, but some of them may well be coming in attack as well.
On the ball centre.
Under 2 minutes to go. You can write the win in for Melbourne Phoenix, the champions. Made the visit to Adelaide. They're going to pick up the points. They weren't able to do it last year. Thunderbirds won this corresponding match 67-54. Neither team has had much opportunity together to train in the pre-season, as both Kath Harvey and Simone McInnes mentioned early on. But not a lot of the fluency is missing. They've given us a great exhibition. 70 seconds left in the first match of the Commonwealth Bank Trophy for 1998. All systems go for Melbourne Phoenix. One short from Southby. Still rubbing that nose. She takes a bead off the nose, and her nose is crooked now. That might explain the shot that went off.
Advantage contact.
Romeo. Shoots truly inside the last minute. And if we're in for more of this calibre of netball in the months to come, we're in for a great season. A really enjoyable first televised game for us. Venison. Call against Sherelle McMahon. Hold, I think was the word, for Maureen Boyle. Hodge, Harvey, Romeo. Thunderbirds trying to the last. Sanders.
Contact. Goal attack.
Contact is against Marissa Romeo.
Right.
Illich takes the opportunity to take the pass for a little laterally. The new rules at work in the last seconds. But that's a win to Melbourne Phoenix. One they deserved in the end. They won, well, 2 out of the 4 quarters. The first one was drawn, but the 16-10 second quarter, I think, really set it up for them. Thunderbirds came back well to take the third, 10-7. And 50-46 the final score. The stats.
The Perth Orioles and the Adelaide Ravens launch round 1 of the 1998 Commonwealth Bank Trophy, coming to you from the Challenge Stadium in Perth. Hello and welcome to the ABC's first Saturday netball program of the year. I'm Simone Thurtell. Well, in 1997, the Orioles and the Ravens played each other twice, each team going away with a win. So we're set for a great match this afternoon. Joining me in commentary this afternoon is former Australian representative Monica Krafcek. Monica, welcome to the coverage. At the beginning of a season, teams can often be a bit tentative. What do you expect to see this afternoon?
Yes, Simone, tentative is the correct word, and perhaps a touch nervous as well, but those nerves will subside once that first whistle goes. Both coaches respectively, Di McDonald for the Perth Orioles and Pat Micken for the Adelaide Ravens, are chomping at the bit to get their charges on court. As you've said, a great game here today.
Well, let's take a look at the team sheets now. For the Orioles, Kerry Duff and Annette Paulson are really going to have to step up their shooting rate this season if their team is to make it to the semi-finals. Sally Browning and Alison Tucker will be looking to make that a difficult task today. The battle of the centre court should be interesting to watch. No doubt Henderson and Grant will be looking to involve Ravens newcomer Audine Cobb as much as they can. Sloane, Seymour and Warland will have the tough job of slowing them down. Orioles goalkeeper Diane Ring has the task of shutting down Ravens' goal attack Anna Colbeck, but perhaps the best clash of the day will be in the circle between two of the more experienced campaigners on court, Sally Ironmonger and Jenny Borlase. Di McDonald lines up for another season with the Orioles, while it's first time out with the Ravens for new coach Pat Micken.
I think tonight it's going to be a case of just consolidating on what we built on last year, and also fighting the match out right to the end. It's going to be a tough game, always is, and we've built up a good rivalry with Ravens, I think, over the last 12 months, so that'll be interesting to see how that happens. Personally, it's just going to be a case of focusing on the job that I have to do and trying to get through all 4 quarters in one piece.
In tonight's game, the Mazda Ravens will be just looking for basically a good win against the Orioles. We'll be looking to go in confidently. The team in general is very excited to be on court finally after a very tough pre-season, and we're looking to take one game at a time, and this is an important game for us, so got a lot of respect for the Perth Orioles, and it's expecting a really tough tussle. Personally, I've got a tough game also against Sally Ironmonger, one of the really top defenders in the Commonwealth Bank Trophy League, and I'll be having to do my best to move Sally around, and also plan to be putting up a lot of shots for the Ravens.
And Julianne Sloane gets the first quarter underway for the Orioles. The Orioles will be running from right to left of your screen, and they're the ones in the lime green and black. Henderson.
Cobb onto Browning. Browning back to Audine Cobb, first-time player for the Ravens here this afternoon.
Jenny Borlase to take her first shot of the match and is successful. So it's a goal apiece in the first quarter. Sloane, Paulson, onto Seymour, bounce pass there.
Good entry at the moment from the Perth Orioles into the forward line.
And Kerry Duff and Annette Paulson really going to have to
shoot well tonight for the Perth Orioles and keep them in touch with the Ravens. Our umpires tonight are Nola Kalnan and Jackie Jashari, keeping a close eye on what goes out on court.
Borlase setting up on the baseline. Ring with the attempt, but it stands for Borlase. 2-all at the moment. Had 1 3/4 minutes of this first quarter.
Advantage obstruction, goal defender.
Into Duff. Pass off to Paulson.
Obstruction, pass a shot.
And Sally Browning there just infringing. And Paulson makes no mistake. The Orioles take the lead by 1. Cobb, Borlase, higher ball there onto Grant. And Anna Colbeck. That's a confident goal there from Colbeck.
An Orioles centre pass.
Julianne Sloan takes the centre pass onto Warland. Duff back to Senor.
Advantage, contact wing.
Sloan working hard here. But it's an intercept there from Danny Grant. Ravens on the attack.
Tip from Tucker there, Simone, and Grant picked up the crumbs.
Borlase. And she's off target with that one. So the Orioles have a chance to peg another one back here with 3 minutes remaining in the first quarter. Paulson. Warland. Onto Sloan. Long high ball into net. Paulson.
Advantage contact.
Oh. And Sally Ironmonger had her Vegemite this morning. That was quite a amazing pass, that one. Straight, almost trying to score the goal herself, I think.
Defenders love that long ball into the forward line. I think she spotted Paulson and was just hoping in the end there. Off hands, Ravens. Orioles sideline throw in. 9-11 the overall scoreline. Just under 2.5 minutes remaining in this first term. Long option, Duff. Screen set up by Paulson. Did it well. Duff finishes off.
So the Orioles are on their way back. The difference now just 1. The Adelaide Ravens out 11-10. Ravens with the centre. Duff onto Grant onto Cobb. Borlase back to Grant. Grant with a quick bounce pass into Borlase, but it's off target, and Ironmonger picks up the scraps.
Goal defender.
So the Orioles with a chance to level. Sloan.
Advantage obstruction.
Out to Ironmonger.
Advantage obstruction.
Into Sloan. Duff's out of the circle.
Contact.
Oh, and a bit of contact there. Sloan goes down. She seems to be okay, though. Duff working well with Sloan. Not quite dropping for Duff, and the Ravens come away with it.
Advantage obstruction.
Chance there for the Orioles to equal the score, but it was turned over by Tucker. Grant, a lot of congestion in the forward line. Grant steps it on quickly. 2 Ravens players had space within each other, 3 feet.
Borlase will get a second shot at that one. And she gets it, so with less than a minute remaining. The visitors are out by 2. The Ravens 12-10. The Orioles have a chance to peg another one back. Paulson working well in the air.
Contact. Pass or shot.
Contact over the back there on Kerry Duff. Tucker to stand aside. And Duff is successful. So with 1 in it, the Ravens take the centre pass. Grant. Out to Henderson. Cobb not being able to take that one, so the Orioles have the chance to level it up just before quarter time. Timekeeper's up. The Orioles have the throw in, but they're going to have to hurry if they want to level this. Quite an even first quarter. The Ravens are up by 1, 12 goals to 11. And with 10.5 minutes remaining in this second quarter, the Ravens are out by 2.
Move back, please. In line, yep.
Cobb being taken out. Ball ace. Stationary stance.
And we can see there that Sally Ironmonger with 3 intercepts. All 3 of the Orioles intercepts, in fact. 16-13 now. The Ravens out by 3. The Orioles need to stay in touch. Paulson onto Warland. Senor to Paulson. Back to Duff. And again, a long-range goal there, but Kerry Duff very confident and went well. Grant. Out to Cobb.
Contact centre, penalty.
Grant looking for Borlase. She couldn't get free, but she found Colbeck. Oh, and Borlase.
No, obstruction, pass the shot. I'm counting.
Borlase with the attempted goal there, but Sally Ironmonger with the infringement. Ravens with the goal. They're out by 3 again. Sloan, Senor. Out to Duff. She looks for Paulson. Bounce pass. And great work from Danny Grant there. Gets their hands in. Julianne Sloan not able to take the pass. Cobb. The Ravens looking to work quickly down the court. Long high ball to Grant. Into Colbeck. And that's a more confident attempt there from Anna Colbeck.
5 for 9 for Anna Colbeck. Overall score 14-18. Colbeck.
It was a nice bounce pass then from Danny Grant into Colbeck, and she finished off well. Borlase on the attack for the Ravens.
Orioles.
Can't quite get hands on the rebound, so it's a throw in to the Orioles. Sloan back to Ironmonger. Looks wide for Paulson, then down for Senor. Duff gets it in the circle. 3 feet obstruction there, and that's one of those new rules. Kerry Duff can move anywhere within line, sideline to sideline of where the infringement occurred.
And the Orioles players have really moved that quickly, haven't they? That penalty, when it's called, you've seen Duff on numerous occasions take it right under the post. Another one there to the Perth Orioles, 16-18. Martin, 2 at the moment. Ball with the Ravens, ball ace. Ravens captain takes it, Colbeck free.
But again, Ironmonger with the hands in there, making it very, very difficult for Colbeck. But she is successful with her attempt. Ravens out by 3. Senor. High ball onto Sloan. In the circle for Paulson. But it's great work from Sally Browning.
Browning got the tip, the touch, and collected the intercept. Henderson moves it forward. Grant again to Cobb. Borlase has been in everything here this afternoon. Colbeck unselfishly to her captain, right under the post.
Ravens.
And with just under 7 minutes remaining in the second quarter, the Ravens are out by 4. They lead 20-16, and they have the centre pass. But again, good work there from Michelle Warland.
Centre contact.
And quite a heavy contact there it wasn't
ball,
as well. Let's take a look. Very solid, Danny Grant.
Didn't pull out at all, young Danny Grant.
Just shows the commitment of the Ravens.
Just side centre and contact.
Grant into Borlase. Working well together.
Held ball.
Held ball's being called. That's not a goal there for the Ravens, so great work again from Sally Ironmonger. So we see there she's successful with the goal, but she was called held ball before that. Goal doesn't count. Down the other end now with the Orioles. And Paulson gets a second shot. 2 attempts. Both Ravens defenders in a bit of trouble, and Paulson can't get the 3rd attempt there.
Contact called on Paulson. 16-20, the overall scoreline. 5 3/4 minutes remaining in this second quarter. The ball with Alison Tucker.
Danny Grant. Onto Cobb.
Danny, just side obstruction.
Cobb high ball back to Grant.
Contact, keeper. Pass the shot.
Covering a lot of ground is Danny Grant. She's a very hard worker. Borlase with the long range shot. She's not successful, so it's a throw in to the Orioles. Diane Ring into Julianne Sloan, out to Ironmonger. Short ball to Senor. Duff. With 5 minutes to go, the Ravens out by 4, 20-16. And it's a contact on the Orioles, so the Ravens now on attack. Cobb to Borlase. Grant looking into the circle, but out to Cobb. Colbeck and Cobb working well to improve Colbeck's position. And she's successful with the attempt. So the Ravens now out by 5. The time has been called. Waveney Senor here, just with a problem. Getting the Ventolin, seems she's an asthmatic here. We're ready to take the centre pass again, and Julie Sloan gets us back underway. Out to Paulson, Senor, into Duff. Contact is called there on Grant. Senor, Grant, into Paulson. And Paulson with the offence there. So the Ravens take it down court onto Cobb. Grant, out to Colbeck. Cobb into Borlase.
Outside wing.
And Borlase's attempt is successful.
Jackie Jashari, the umpire on the left-hand side of the screen, is allowing good contest for the Oriole defenders. Being an ex-defender, I like to see that, Simone, that the attackers are made to work hard. Borlase has it. Mid-range shot. Ironmonger waits again to jump. Not on this occasion. Stands for the Adelaide Ravens. 16 plays 23. Ravens out by 7. Just under 3.5 minutes remaining in this second quarter.
Sloan looks for Senor at the other side of the circle. And again, a high long ball, which is intercepted there from Alison Tucker.
Colbeck has it. Borlase balances well.
Contact. Keeper, half shot.
And it was on that occasion, yes. Borlase stopped smack bang in front of Ring. Went into Borlase's back, could not convert, but Colbeck takes the rebound under the post, puts it in for the Ravens.
And all of a sudden, this lead has skipped out to 8. The Orioles really need to get some goals on the board and stay in contact with the Ravens.
Contact centre. Penalty.
And again, Danny Grant involved in quite a heavy contact there.
Contact, keeper. Yep, pass the shot.
Let's take a look at it. Oh. Straight into Julianne Sloan there, and the goal is successful for the Ravens, 25-16. The Ravens out. Sloan to Senor. Duff with some good aerial work. Back to Sloan.
Contact, keeper. Sorry, goal defender.
Sloan finds Duff. Oh, bit lucky there, Kerry Duff. And that's a good goal there for the Orioles. With under 2 minutes remaining, 25-17, the Ravens lead.
Advantage obstruction!
Borlase, top of the circle, Cobb takes it well. Borlase chasing, gathers the ball. Cobb once again. Colbeck gave the space to Borlase. Good thinking there from the young player. And in turn, Borlase gave the space to Colbeck. We have a replayed ball. Ring to take it, Ironmonger. Will she use the sideline? No. Warland used instead. Now Ironmonger. Senor, long way out of her area. Duff loses control. Turnover. Oh, almost snaffled there by Warland. Held ball called on Audine Cobb's pass. It's a very quick held ball. 17 plays 25. Counting down almost to the last minute of this second term.
Inside the last minute. And Kerry Duff looking for support there. Back to Ironmonger. Paulson.
Wing defender, you're holding.
Wing defender's being called for holding there. Duff will take the shot. And is successful. So the score now 25-18. But with under a minute remaining, the Orioles really need to get another goal to boost their confidence going into the second half. Senor into Duff. Paulson. Sloan. And great hands there from Alison Tucker. It's a good time for an intercept. Danny Grant, quick on her feet. And a very quick transition there from the Ravens. Finished off by Anna Colbeck. 26-18, the Ravens. Timekeeper's up.
Hold time, please.
Noel McCallon has called hold time.
Spanish break wing defender.
But Danny Grant takes the centre pass. And time has been called. At the end of the second quarter, the Ravens lead 26-18. The Perth Orioles are confident of improving on what was a solid 1997. Should they fall short of their target of making the top 4 this year, it won't be because coach Di McDonald wasn't pushing.
Go. Come on, push it hard, push it out. Good work. Lovely hands. Good work, Michelle. Push it
This
out.
year, what we hope to achieve is exactly what we set out to do last year with one more step. I mean, we set our aims and objectives to be a competitive side while establishing our National League here in WA, and I felt we did that. We certainly earned a healthy respect from the opposition with our competitiveness, but we need to take it one more step and actually nail a place in that final 4.
Keep it going, keep it going. Stop.
I wanna push you around. Well, I will.
I take the pressure as a healthy pressure. It's a stimulating pressure. I certainly won't let that pressure, force me into a situation where I don't want to be involved or I don't enjoy the sport. But as far as a coaching career, it's just a way of life, and that you just got to take the good with the bad, and that's just the way it is.
Do you think with all the coaching courses you've done and the practical experience in coaching that you've evolved your own philosophy?
I have so many different philosophies. They change as I grow and as I change. But probably one philosophy that continues to stay with me, especially since I lost my brother last year to cancer, which was a traumatic year for me personally, was that just to be a better person today than what I was yesterday. And I employ that onto my athletes.
Self-assessment time. What do you think you do well as a coach?
Yeah, it's funny you should ask this, because when I do the one-to-one interviews with the athletes, I'm always saying to them that every time I ask about your strengths and weaknesses, you can give me a list this long about your weaknesses and you find it difficult to assess your strengths. You should know your strengths, just stuff like that, and you've just asked me the same thing. I do know my strengths, but probably what I enjoy doing the most is to see an athlete put 110% out and come off a netball court knowing they gave it everything, win, lose or draw.
And time is called. The Perth Orioles are absolutely overjoyed.
I'm not an outcome person. I'm very much a process person. I like to take care of the process and let the outcome take care of itself. And it's about feeling good about yourself. So I think what I do well is keep an athlete honest and to get the best out of their performance as they can, to take responsibility for that. It's a two-way street. Coming from an athletic background myself and being a player, I know exactly how they feel and where they're coming from, and one of the weaknesses is that sometimes I forget that. I forget that sometimes, and I tend to push them, a little bit hard.
And do you have ambitions to be WA's next Australian coach?
No, I would have to be honest with you, Steve. I have no ambition at this point in time to be that. The only ambition that I have in netball is to make a difference to netball in WA.
And Julianne Sloan gets the third quarter underway for the Orioles. Actually, there's been a change made there. It's Nielsen. Pepper Nielsen is now in the centre position for the Orioles. And Kylie Chamberlain there has also come on in the goal shooting position, and she starts very confidently, gets the Orioles on the board early in the third quarter.
Some more changes to this Orioles lineup, Simone, than a game of chess, as you said. Chamberlain in at goal, shooter Pepper Nielsen in at centre. Roxanne Edwards into goal defence. Dyring is off now. She was in goalkeeper in that first and second quarter. Kerry Duff is also off. Sally Ironmonger's gone to goalkeeper. And Julianne Sloan is off from the centre position. Borlase with the shot. 19 plays 27. We've played almost 1 minute of this third quarter. Ravens statistics there, 69% for the Ravens. Both shooters respectively shooting okay.
57% there from the goal attack from the Orioles. Annette Poulsen, she needs to lift that rating a little if her team are to get back into this match. Borlase is successful with that attempt. So it's 28-19, and the Orioles really, the defence needs to step up. They need to stop this flow of goals from the Ravens.
Having said that, though, Simone, they really can't put all that pressure on Sally Ironmonger, and I think perhaps that's where Coach Di McDonald's asking for her younger defenders, Warland. Also to put pressure on.
Contact, keeper.
Paulson to Chamberlain. Chamberlain now has it. Steadies, drops it in for the Orioles. 20 plays 28, and Nielsen in at centre in this third quarter will take the Orioles centre pass. Turns, uses Warland. Was one of the few players that wasn't changed. Paulson once again, back out, Nielsen. Chamberlain getting a lot of attention there from Tucker. Paulson comes through strong. Browning out for the penalty for the Ravens. Orioles take the shot. 21 plays 28. The margin narrowed now from the half-time break. Down by 7, the Perth Orioles. Ravens.
Borlase is looking to use Grant there and has in fact passed to Nielsen. So the Orioles on the attack. Chamberlain, hard pass into Poulsen. She did very well to keep that in play, and back to Chamberlain. And Kylie Chamberlain's hot in this third quarter. She's yet to miss an attempt. She played quite a few games for the Orioles last season and will really benefit from the experience that she gained there. As we take a look at a replay, Chamberlain with the long-range goal there, high arc, and lots of net in that goal. So she brings her team back within 6, 28-22, the Ravens leading. High ball to Henderson. Grant. Looking for Cobb. Back to Borlase. Grant. Into Colbeck. And that one just drops in there for Anna Colbeck. Ravens out by 7, 29-22. Danny Grant with the centre pass. Cobb. Borlase working with Grant. Long ball back into the centre third there to Browning.
Contract wing.
Grant onto Cobb. Grant with the bounce pass attempt there, but it wasn't quite successful, and the Orioles have the turnover. Nielsen to Chamberlain. Senor with a great pass into Poulsen. Chamberlain with the shot. And the changes in the lineup for the Orioles really seems to have injected some life into their lineup. Nielsen and Chamberlain working very well together. Warland. Senor. Poulsen. Just a little bit too wide there for Kylie Chamberlain. And Alison Tucker will take the throw in.
Contact, goal attack.
Tucker moves it a bit forward. Henderson, long-standing member of the South Australian state side, is Trudy Henderson. Takes it once again from Anna Colbeck. 14 Cobb, ex-member of the Adelaide Thunderbirds, now with the Adelaide Ravens. She switched camp for season 98. Grant has it on the baseline. Just out from the goal circle. Colbeck to the space, but too wide for Cobb. Not on at all, that pass to Audine Cobb. She gave chase, but the turnover there to the Perth Orioles. Ironmonger takes it, drops it nicely to Warland. Roxy Edwards has the space. Poulsen.
Senor. High floating pass there into Paulson. She dishes off to Chamberlain. First miss for Kylie Chamberlain there.
Contact.
But the Orioles will get another chance for this goal. And Annette Paulson is successful. So the Orioles back within 5 with 9 minutes remaining in this third quarter. Waveney Senor's taken a tumble, but she seems to be okay. Ball lays to Cobb.
Ooh.
But the high pass didn't work there, and Sally Ironmonger with a relatively easy intercept.
Hold time, please. Get a towel.
Time's been called here. As I mentioned, Waveney Senor had a tumble.
But action now with the Adelaide Ravens. Cobb steps on quickly. Colbeck came to the pass, moved forward, did it well. Grant balances within the 3 seconds. A high, well-placed pass there from Colbeck to Grant. Borlase with the penalty shot. Again, a mid-range shot for Borlase. Good one to the Ravens. 24 plays 30, margin 6 now. Just over 8 minutes remaining in this third term. Stats you can see, Borlase shooting at 71%, 20 from 28 attempts now to Colbeck, 10 from 14. So both Ravens shooters are in sync with each other here this afternoon as we see a goal drop to the Perth Orioles. 25 plays 30.
Go defender.
Kylie Chamberlain here we can see works well with Paulson under the ring, and she makes no mistake. She's playing quite well.
This side.
Kylie Chamberlain, very confident with her shooting that we've seen in this third quarter. Ravens with the throw-in.
Contact wing.
Grant into Borlase. And Jenny Borlase, always consistent, keeps her team out by 6. 31-25, the Ravens lead. Senor to Paulson.
Contact. The hands are up. Yep. Outside.
Contact
Penalty.
there from Sally Browning. Senor takes the shot. The pass into Paulson, who takes the shot. And the Orioles trying to stay in contact here with the Ravens. Oh, and Nielsen there called for an obstruction.
Contact wing defender.
The Ravens looking to get into the circle. Roxanne Edwards doing well to get the hands in, trying to unsettle
Back is set. Yep.
the Adelaide shooters. And just rimming out there for Jenny Borlase.
Goes in for the attempt of the rebound, gets a second chance at it. Contact called on Roxy Edwards. Well done from Roxy Edwards as well to follow up. Makes it hard for Borlase. Jenny Borlase would not be happy with that easy shot under the post. Gone missing for the Ravens, but it's still in the attack line for the Adelaide Ravens. Grant has it.
As we take a look at the rebounds there, the Orioles out by 1, 3-2.
Colbeck has it.
Advantage obstruction, goal defender.
And you heard umpire Nola Cowland say advantage obstruction, 26 plays 32, margin back out to 8.
As Nielsen takes the centre pass.
Sorry, correction, 6, I can't add up, Simone.
So it's 32 to the Ravens, 26 to the Orioles. Senor takes the throw in for the Orioles.
Centre, Ravens.
A high pass to Paulson, who takes the long-range shot and makes it. With just under 5.5 minutes left in this third quarter, the Ravens out 32-27. And on the attack with Jenny Borlase in the circle, taking the long-range goal. And she's successful.
How confident was Jenny Borlase's shot? Ironmonger stood out. 27 plays 33. Nielsen.
Advantage obstruction.
Hands over the ball there from Grant and Colbeck. Paulson in the Orioles goal circle, takes it once again strongly. Forward of Tucker. Sinks that for the Orioles. 28 plays 33.
Difference is 5 as the Ravens take the centre pass. Colbeck onto Cobb. Grant, long ball across the circle to Cobb. She can't gather it in, but the offside's been called, so it's a free pass to the Ravens.
Advantage contact.
Colbeck. Ironmonger working hard for the rebound and has got it. So the Orioles on the attack. And that's exactly what they need. They need to really stop the Ravens on a couple of these trips down the court. Get themselves back into this match. Their shooters are doing well. Good feeding pass there from Chamberlain into Paulson. And Paulson does the right thing and scores the goal, so it's now 33-29, the Ravens leading, but the Orioles have the centre pass and another chance to get that margin down again.
Umpire Jackie Jashari there indicating
You're right. No, you're right.
Danny Grant needs to stand out for obstruction. Senor onto Chamberlain, who's done well in this third term coming on. Good attempt there from Henderson, but it fell the way of Chamberlain. Ball pops back out of the ring, is rebounded by the Ravens. Long one, Henderson. And Tucker working it down. The corridor was wide open and Borlase picked up the crumbs.
Clever work there from Jenny Borlase, just batting that pass on. Colbeck to Grant. And Colbeck with the shot. Quite confident, these Ravens shooters. They're taking them from quite a distance in the circle.
Colbeck at the moment 12 from 18. Ball with Borlase, back out to Grant. Took the option in the pocket. But a contact called on Edwards. Standing out. Colbeck once again. 29 plays 35, just over 2.5 minutes remaining in this third term.
Nielsen to Senor, back to Nielsen.
Advantage obstruction.
Senor with the jump pass over to Chamberlain.
Advantage upside, wing.
Senor doing well to keep it balanced. Great
take.
intercept there from Alison Tucker. And that's the kind of defensive work that Ravens coach Pat Micken would love to see. And Jenny Borlase doing the right thing at the other end, and in fact applauding the take there from Alison Tucker, which really helped for that goal.
Orioles with 8 intercepts, Ravens with 16, so double the amount of intercepts there for the Adelaide Ravens.
And all of a sudden the Ravens are on a roll again. They're out by 8, 37-29. The Orioles really need to get a couple of goals on the board with only a minute and a half remaining in this third quarter. Strong rebound there from Kylie Chamberlain.
Advantage obstruction.
And she gets the goal as well, so good work there from Kylie Chamberlain. Brings the team back within 7. And the crowd certainly get behind her as well.
Advantage upside.
Great pass there from Cobb. Good take from Colbeck. And she finishes it off for the Adelaide Ravens. 30 plays 38. Nielsen once again turns, this time uses a defender in the centre pass. That was Roxanne Edwards. Chamberlain threw it back out to Senor. Great work there by Paulson. Finished off well.
A bit of a wry smile there from Annette Paulson. She took that goal off balance and it went in. It's just the bit of luck that perhaps the Orioles need. Let's take a look. Barely had time to set herself, I don't think she did, and she just let the ball off there and she's got the goal.
Contact.
Tumble down there in the forward end, Adelaide Ravens player. 14 Cobb is holding time, asking again for the court to be mopped, precautionary measure.
And it's been quite a physical match. Both teams are very committed to their defence and attack. There's Pat Micken making a few notes, I'd say, for third quarter time.
While she said it was physical, there's no animosity in it. There's been a strong contest to the ball, and players, yes, have put their bodies in, but they've done it with fairness as well.
And the umpires, Nola Kalnan and Jackie Jashari, doing a great job to keep this match flowing. Senor onto Chamberlain, but it's through their hands, but she regains possession. Senor to Chamberlain. Timekeeper's up inside the last minute of this third quarter. And in fact, time has been called. So there's a 7-goal difference. The Ravens still out 39-32 at three-quarter time. And Danny Grant into the centre. She takes the centre pass and gets the final quarter of this match between the Ravens and the Orioles underway. COMMBANK into Grant. Borlase out to Cobb. As we take a look at those shooting statistics.
Contact centre.
COMMBANK dropping there a percentage or so from half-time, three-quarter stats. 68% at the moment for her, 15 from 22. Borlase 70%. Good shooting there from the Orioles, just not as many opportunities for them. COMMBANK with a shot there for the Ravens.
And the difference out to 8.
Contact.
Late attempt there from Danny Grant. Has the penalty called against her. Ball advanced along.
Senor looking for Chamberlain, couldn't get to her. Hands in there from goalkeeper Alison Tucker.
Offside called against the Perth Orioles. Tucker to take it. Henderson, was never on that pass. Wallen was right with Ordine Cobb. Ball turned over now. Paulson. Chamberlain has it. Came on in the third quarter and did very well. Starts the fourth quarter off just as well. 33 plays 47 the margin. Played 1.5 minutes of this last quarter. A lot of changes made to the Orioles lineup. After the half-time break, the Ravens have yet to make a positional change in their 7 lineup. 33 plays 41. Paulson swings it back out to Wallen. Senor has 2 Ravens players over her.
Contact goal defender.
Contact there on Sally Browning. So it'll be a pass or shot for Paulson. Take a look at a replay there. There's the contact. And Annette Paulson has put that goal in, so it's 41 plays 34. As the Ravens take it down court.
Centre contact. Pass the ball.
Danny Grant.
No, move back, centre, move back.
No, just been instructed to move back a little there by Jackie Deshari.
Advantage offside, centre. Contact, goal defence, pass or shot.
Edmonds with an attempt there on Borlase, but just a bit too vigorous. And Borlase spots COMMBANK. Once again, the Adelaide Ravens sinking that shot. 34 plays 42. Margin still 8, as it was at the half-time break. So the Ravens winning the first quarter, the second quarter. But the Orioles taking the third.
In line.
Senor to take the ball. Out to Nielsen. Heard the call there that Sally Browning is holding Kylie Chamberlain there, so Chamberlain will take the penalty. And she doesn't need the second shot. She gets it on the first. Keeps them in touch, but the Orioles really need to get a few more on board and stop the Ravens from scoring themselves. Take a look at the penalty count. The Orioles out 47. The Ravens with 34. And now the turnovers.
On the wing.
A little closer there than we saw at half-time. The intercept 16 to the Ravens, 9 to the Orioles. That's quite a few that the Ravens have got there.
Half-time break, Simone, I don't know if you remember that penalties were 26 apiece for both sides, but 17 more penalties were incurred in that third term by the Orioles.
And Sally Ironmonger trying to inspire her team here. She got the turnover, the crowd loved it. And just a wayward pass there from Roxanne Edwards.
So the hard work of Ironmonger gone missing. Borlase right under the post. Ironmonger with the great jump. And the intercept turned it over, but the Orioles lost it on the sideline.
And again, as we rejoin play, we see Sally Ironmonger doing everything, even on the ground, trying to regain possession.
Take there from Cobb. Borlase has the attention of Edwards over her shoulder, and I think it was also just a slight clip in the ear to Jenny Borlase, but she takes the penalty. 35 plays 43.
I'm sure it was a friendly clip in the ear there as the Orioles take the centre pass. Paulson onto Senor. Chamberlain. They really need to score on this trip to the ring. Contact on Danny Grant there.
You're holding a goal defender.
Still holding the call on Sally Browning. Oh no, in fact, she's changed her mind. It's Alison Tucker who's holding. Either way, Chamberlain takes the shot and is successful, and she has a bit of a smile there. Score now with just under 10 minutes remaining in this match, 43-36. Let's take a look at that quarter-by-quarter score. Quite close in the first, only 1 goal the difference, but then in the second, the Ravens really kicked out. 8 goals they got out by in that second quarter. In the third quarter, the Orioles pegged back 1. It was 7 goals the difference. And at the moment, it's 8 goals the difference in the final quarter of the match. With 9.5 remaining, the Ravens out 44-36.
Good attempt there from Browning. She does get the intercept, but Tucker takes it quickly, gets on with the action. Henderson moves it down the middle. Cobb balances well on one. Ball ace taken beautifully. Knew that Ironmonger was going to be in a fraction late. Held the ball up. Sally Ironmonger out. Ball ace for the Adelaide Ravens. Their captain misses one of the easier shots. But another contact called.
And looks like Sally Ironmonger's got a bit of a knock to the mouth here. She's in quite a bit of pain.
Looks fairly wonky as well, really oozy. Looks like she's about to... Yeah, perhaps a knock underneath the chin.
Andrew Thompson, the physio. Let's have a look.
Ironmonger out of play at the moment. That's from her own player, Roxy Edwards.
It's not really what you'd want to do to one of your best defending players on the court, and Ironmonger really in a bit of trouble here. Quite a deal of pain. Di McDonald looking very concerned. She knows that Ironmonger is perhaps the key to her team's resurgence in this match. The whistle's been blown by Nola Calnan, and Ironmonger is back on her feet, but still looking a little unsteady there. She'll be continuing, though, as the Ravens take the court again, and the crowd really giving Sally Ironmonger some support here.
Over here, goal defence is out of play. Over here next to you, move back into goal attack. That's it, there you are.
And COMMBANK takes the attempt and is successful.
Ravens.
So with under 9 minutes remaining in this match, the Ravens are out 45-36 and have the centre pass. Cobb bounce pass into Borlase, but a great intercept there from Roxanne Edwards. That's what the Orioles need. Out to Ironmonger. Edwards.
Goal shoot obstruction.
Borlase called for that obstruction. Paulson looking for some support.
Contact centre, Red.
Danny Gran on top of Nielsen there. Called for the contact into Paulson in the circle. And all net there for Annette Paulson. A great goal to get. And they're within 8 again, the Orioles, with the centre pass. Chamberlain.
Long hands there from Henderson. Had the tip and it came off the Orioles last by the looks of it. Yes, Tucker asking for indication along the baseline.
Contact goal attack.
As the Perth Orioles cheer squad, the dancers at the half-time break entertained us. And they're trying to inspire the Perth Orioles here this afternoon. COMMBANK back to Cobb. Borlase moves that ball very quickly. Jenny Borlase back out of the circle, and a 3-second call on that pass.
Great defence there from the Perth Orioles. Ironmonger and Roxanne Edwards doing very well. Paulson onto Chamberlain. High pass into Paulson. And she does the right thing, Annette Paulson, and a bit of a clap there with just over 7 minutes remaining in this match. It's 45-38. Cobb onto Grant. Borlase.
High one.
Borlase with the high pass to Grant there, and she couldn't gather it in, so it's a turnover to the Orioles. Just what they needed at this stage of the match.
Contact Orioles, penalty pass.
But they've turned the ball over almost immediately. Contact there on Senor. So it's a penalty pass, and the Ravens now on attack through Henderson. Cobb onto COMMBANK. Grant back to Cobb. Grant.
Contact centre, Orioles.
Quite a bit of attention there on Audine Cobb, but she works well with COMMBANK. High pass off to Borlase. And Ironmonger with her hands in there, and Borlase makes it with her second attempt. 46 plays 38.
Margin still out, just over 6 minutes remaining in this last quarter. Orioles captain Cena onto Paulson. Browning picks up Paulson again, but Chamberlain, the front option used. And it was an obstruction there from Tucker.
And you just heard it there from Nola Kalman. She's just told Tucker that she's landing too early. Chamberlain makes that goal, and Di McDonald likes it. She's trying to encourage her side from the sideline, but it's the Ravens on the attack at the moment.
Play switch to Henderson. Advantage was called. Advantage offside, but now it's back in the goal third. Ironmonger to take it. Edwards in at goal defence. It was Nielsen in at centre after the half-time break.
And Henderson's called for holding. So Senor will take the pass. Short lob pass to Paulson there. And Paulson is doing the right thing. Let's take a look at those shooting stats. Kylie Chamberlain, 11 from 13 for 84%. And Anna Paulson, 15 from 19 after that last attempt. She's at 78%. So they're doing the right thing, the shooters, in the last quarter. And they've got
Browning
another
with an attempt there. But a contact call. Paulson now to take it. Tucker with the defensive action on Paulson. Shot with the Orioles. 41 plays 46. Just over 4.5 minutes remaining in this last quarter. The margin 5 to the Adelaide Ravens. Senor with the attempt at the intercept, but a contact called on her. Oh, Cobb, sorry, offloads very quickly. Grant speared it out to the pocket, but retrieved for the Ravens in the goal circle instead. Edwards out of play. Rebound taken by Colbeck. Anna Colbeck at the moment 20 from 27. Make that 21 from 28. Ravens leading by 6. 41 plays 47. Just under 4 minutes remaining in this fourth quarter.
And Kylie Chamberlain lines up for a long-range goal. Just bounces out there. Cobb onto Henderson. Back to Cobb with the long pass from Colbeck, but there were hands in there from the Orioles.
Ravens.
So the Ravens with the throw-in. Colbeck.
Centre contact, you're on top.
Contact there from the centre, Nielsen, but the Orioles have the turnover. A chance now to bring that margin back. But no, immediately it's a turnover to the Ravens again.
And Borlase wasn't happy with that last call, and she showed it to umpire Jackie Deshari.
Vanish contact, keeper.
Borlase into Colbeck.
Ironmonger keeping her body strong, not allowing Borlase to come around for the rebound.
Contact wing, penalty.
Wallen moves it on quickly. Roxy Edwards again. Paulson holds it up, steadies.
And Chamberlain not afraid to take these long-range goals. Successful on that attempt. And she had her fist in the air. So the Ravens with the centre pass.
Wing attack.
Grant. Into Cobb. Borlase. The obstruction was called on Ironmonger. She's putting everything into this final 2.5 minutes of the match. And Borlase misses with that attempt. Perhaps Ironmonger's tactics are working here. But the Ravens still with the throw-in. And Borlase and Edwards having a bit of a stoush under the ring. The Orioles have the ball, though. Nielsen, Senor onto Chamberlain. Chamberlain misses with the long-range shot. Strong work from Alison Tucker to hang on to that ball. But the contact's been called on goal attack, Annette Paulson. We're holding time here. Nola Kalman. Plays back on, and Grant. Long ball. Out to Colbeck. Back to Cobb.
Contact centre. Vanish contact wing.
into Grant, but Ironmonger gets the hands in there, and it's a Ravens throw-in. Cobb to take it. High to Colbeck.
Centre offside, free pass.
Centre offside there. Free pass to the Orioles. And they move quickly down the court. 5 behind with only a minute remaining in this match. Nielsen into Paulson. And just bouncing out there, Chamberlain working hard under the net. And Nola Calnon not letting a second pass. She's called time again. Chamberlain with the penalty shot. She reduces that margin and calls out in vain to Nola Calnon there about time wasting. But the Orioles with the centre pass behind by 4, 47-43. Under a minute remaining in this match. Contact called on Kylie Chamberlain there. So the Ravens will have the chance with the pass for the difference. Colbeck into Grant. Cobb. Borlase out of the circle. Henderson. Working with Audine Cobb there. Grant into Borlase.
Advantage, contact, you're pushing back.
And a great goal there from Borlase. Takes it out again to 5. Timekeeper's up. In fact, that is the match. Nola Calnon calls time. In the end, it was 5 the difference. The Adelaide Ravens 48, the Perth Orioles 43 as the girls shake hands. And it was a great match to start off the season. Sally Ironmonger did very well for the Orioles, but let's take a look at the team statistics for the match. The penalties there really hurting the Orioles. They gave away 60, the Ravens 44. In intercepts, the Ravens took 6 more than the Orioles. And turnovers, 23 to the Ravens, 15 to the Orioles. That gave the Ravens a lot more possession, and we really see that in the attempts taken at goal. 71 attempts by the Ravens, 55 from the Orioles, and that final score, 48 for the Ravens, played 43 for the Orioles.
Glad to get that one out of the way, Jenny.
Yeah, so it was a tough game for us, but a great way for the Mazda Ravens to start the season, and we look forward to next week now.
Started off the first quarter very well, out by 1, half-time out by 8. But you lost the third and fourth quarter, probably the downers for the Ravens.
Yeah, we've got a bit to work on still. They brought out a new side and it took a while for us to adjust. But we hung in there, we stuck to our game plan and came up with the result that we were looking for.
How much is a thorn in most of the sides will Sally Ironmonger be?
Oh, look, she's a great competitor and she's got a ginormous arm, as you saw tonight. And, you know, she's going to be a tough one to beat for all sides and always going to be a great help for the Perth Orioles.
Good shooting from Anna Colbeck, first year up with the Ravens. Also, Audine Cobb fed you very well.
Yes, both of them, their first game for the Mazda Ravens, they did a great job. And I'm sure they'll feel much more comfortable and confident going into the next game against the Thunderbirds next week.
Great start for the Adelaide Ravens. Thanks, Jenny.
Thank you.
We hope you've enjoyed today's match from Perth. Be sure to join Steve Rebilliard tomorrow at 9:30 when he presents all the action from the clash between the Adelaide Thunderbirds and the Melbourne Phoenix. Then next Friday, make sure you tune in to round 2 of the Commonwealth Bank Trophy. It's an all-Adelaide clash between the Thunderbirds and the Ravens. Then on Saturday at 1 o'clock, join us as we bring you the match between the Sydney Sandpipers and the Melbourne Kestrels. It's bound to be a great contest.